Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on Thursday, February the 3rd. The year's 2022. Let's talk trading. Price, part 2. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. Let's take a look at the charts and we'll talk about price as we go along. As we can see, price is 203 pips above the weekly open, 35 off the high, and 207 off the low on the weekly chart. We're looking at the monthly now, 150 above the open, 35 off the high, and 159 off the low. And then we get into the daily, and this is where things start to get a little interesting. Price came down and almost got into the opening range for the year, and then reversed hard. And if you look, it broke the previous day's high out of that upper wick zone, made a nice move almost to last year's open. Notice if you look left, there's a couple of wicks, and right about this level, 39.05, call it 39.10, there was a nice area to take a short. Because if you look at it, if you had your stop loss there, just above the current high, you could have probably never felt threatened that whole time. Once again, the daily, we've got 66 pips above the yearly open here. There's the year low, there's the year high so far. And you can see we're dancing right around that midpoint. We are in the weekly inside bar that occurred 2 weeks ago. You can see we broke out, but then came right back inside. There's some inside bar plays here. As you can see, the pound, we're above the inside bar in the day, but the week and the month, we are definitely there. Look at the ranges. We have got a whole bunch over 100. The pound pairs, with the exception of the pound and pound dollar, that is, and the New Zealand yen. So I don't know what happened to pound dollar. It's lagging, but look at these others. Definitely, there's some nice moves. In fact, I was considering trading the euro because when I looked at it yesterday, going to take a while to load up the euro since I usually don't have that data flowing in. I saw the euro was right here at the 1300 level, but that was, I said, no, I'm going to stick with trading what I trade, but playing the double low, saying, okay, I'll guess it'll go to 14 rather than go to 114 rather than go to 112. That would have been a nice 100 pip trade. But as I mentioned, I didn't take it because my trading plan says I trade the pound now. And that's one of the things, when you talk about solving problems, if you're a pair hopper and that's your plan, that's okay. But if you're not, then don't. So sometimes it's tough. Taking a look here at the buy zone, you can see crisscrossing that daily open, and I was kicking myself because I was long here and I didn't get the full Magilla. So definitely kicking myself on that one. And the red rats, in fact, I had gotten out of a red rat trade at 36 about 04. I should have left that one alone too. But I've got some other things to do, so that's why I exited. I had a planned exit. I did what I thought it was. It did what I thought it was going to do, and I punched out. And what happened was there was a gap. The price had gapped up, and I knew it had to come back and fill that gap. So I took a short. I had to wait a while, but it came back and it did fill that gap. And once it did, I punched out. It reversed up, but then came crashing down. But once again, when we talk about problem solving, you need to stick with your plan. And what happens afterwards is irrelevant. Notice today we oscillated right around that pivot point 35.57. Near the pivot point, the bias was long, and it proved to be a good call with the pivot trading plan. And let's see, there's one thing I wanted to do on this. We only looked at 250 bars. I wanted to crank that up to 5,000, which is, I think, is the max. Notice I added 4 consecutive misses because we had 2 misses in a row, and if it had missed today, then I would have almost bet the ranch shorting the pound. Notice we took out this missed pivot right here, so that's no longer on the list. So these are all the missed pivots by day. These are all the missed pivots that haven't been covered. So like I said, this one went off the chart. We took off today's pivot. We still have 2 for February. We still have 1 here in January. So we'll see what happens. A lot of distance between here and here, so who knows which one of those pivots will get taken out. The wick zone, once again, just simple trades, and I kicked myself again because I did take a long. I exited. I took a long here, took a small profit, didn't re-enter, and of course it went to the moon. But that was on me. I have nobody to blame but me for not doing that, because when you can see what price is doing here, and here we put in an inside bar, just trading at the horizontal line, price was moving up on an H1 candle here. The daily was also green. The indicator 2 dots were all aqua. Well, everything was pointing up, and I didn't take that one trade. And that would have been good for about, maybe 10 or 20 pips if I would have ridden it and punched out. And then here again, you see an inside bar. There was a nice break to the north here, but we haven't quite broke to the south on this one. And the inside bar trades, just so you know, we're talking about price. It doesn't matter if price leaves the inside bar on the very next bar. No, it could leave it, any bar down the line, or it could leave it, come back. Those levels are still valid levels to trade. Here on the higher low, lower high scalper, once again, just looking at price. Price made a higher low over the last, I believe, 34 bars here, and then price came down. And you can see, looking left, you've got sell, sell, and these wicks all mean that the sellers were winning. So you can see right here, pretty much it was all sell. And so right now, you look here, you can see it's buy, trigger at the 95 off of a 2-ball, going long. And between this 3-ball, once again for the fib traders, you can see we hit the midpoint, and we hit the 78 and the 61 and 78 on that retrace. So there were some nice pips to be made for those fib traders. Back to horizontal line traders, taking the previous hour breakout to the south here. The Walmart line was just above it. You could almost double up that trade at 36.10 area. You can see there was a long at 36.10 there, long at the double low here. There was, called it short here, not much of a trade. But one of the things about indicator 2 is I use it for a bias, so I try not to trade against it. And if I do, I take my pip or whatever and get out and be happy, because you're going against the bias. On the ATR zone, you can see we actually exceeded it slightly here. We came back to it a couple more times, and then price dropped out of it. And that's something I've been working with over the past few weeks, with ATR and range. And as we get in the price, I will share what I've been doing, my observations, my analysis, and I will show you some of the indicators that I've coded. In fact, there's some old indicators that I forgot about. I say, why didn't I have an ATR multimeter? Well, I did back in 2009 and 2010. So I have to go back and look over my codes because I've been known to code the same thing more than once. In fact, this opening range indicator, first, off the first bar of the hour, I did one in 2020, but it's slightly different. And the reason why is because the other one would just immediately plot it. And this one, you have to wait for that time frame to appear before you get the lines. So that way it makes me less jumpy. So you can see here, we had a breakout of the M1 to the north. So that was a quick trade. You can see here we had a break to the south. And so analyzing price, let's see, what did price do here? This is something that it's good to recognize. We put in that first opening bar. What did price do? Price covered it, okay? It went up, came back down, it covered it. Then what did price do? It went back up, then and covered this bar, came back down and headed south. So what I look to do, or what I'm looking to do sometimes, is when I see price cover, this is where I want to continue. Now, if I see price go up and then come back to the open, this is where I want to go short, especially if it hasn't covered it. So here it's going back up, it comes back down, price covers it. So here it went up, it covered, made a new high, came crashing through, and it covered it. You could either go short at the open of that bar or short here at the opening bar for the hour low. And then you can see here we had a M5 low put in. And what I also do is as the lines paint, I'll switch up a time frame. So here on the M5, after this candle closed, you can see price tried to cover, failed to cover. So when it came back down to the open, that's a signal to short. And one of the things we look for is we use the mid dots indicator. I don't know if I've got it on here. No, I'll have to put it on here. And if it goes right around the midpoint and reverses, then once again, short at the open. And as you can see, I'm only talking about making just a couple of pips, but if you're trading heavy, 5 lots, 2 pips is $100. So it's kind of nice to do that. And even if you're trading light, I mean, if you're trading a mini lot, $1 a pip, and you've got a small account, those pips add up. If you do 2 pips 10 times, that's 20 pips. That's $20. That's a 2% return on your account, on your $1,000. That's not bad in a day. So, on the price, you can see here, it got back into that opening range for the hour, that 1 minute opening range. And also, we just clicked over to the 30, so we'll look to go long at 36.03, short at 35.90, but we'd probably short one of these other lows first and look to see if, once again, let's look at price. Does price cover? So that's the question that I ask. Has price covered the bar, the previous bar, and what's it going to do afterwards? So, fellow traders, I know that was probably a lot in a little bit of time. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll be going over it again throughout the month. And just remember, when you're at your trading platform, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.